I'd like to get started. Also want to let you know that I speak like a machine gun. So if you don't understand, if you want to, please stop me. I know you paid big bucks for this workshop. So seriously, a little bit about myself. I have a background in linguistics. I have a background in education and ESL, but I also have a background in technology. And so, you know, did you ever watch the TV shows and some geek gets up and he starts talking about all these things and you just kind of do a deer in the headlight?
Yeah, lays over.
I know what he's talking about. That's, okay? So if I may be running through something and plain as the nose on my face to me, if it's not to you, stop me.
Okay.
So
expect
that,
to see my hand a lot.
Yeah. Okay? This workshop is going to be more basic. We're going to be talking about some things with Firefox. We'll be talking about presentation tips as far as creating a PowerPoint or Impress or a Google presentation system or something like that. And then also a little bit about MP3 and using MP3s. This little monster right here is an MP3. I am recording this session. My hope is then, of course, to put this online to make it available to people. Okay? I recommend that if you don't have one of these little monsters, that you get one. I can record, 3 weeks worth of data here. Save them all as MP3s, put them online, put them in my iDrive folder. Any student who missed class can now listen to what happened. Obviously, they can't.
Equipment. I don't know if you call it an MP3, but as you told me, I could just use it, record it, and then sub it in and get the information.
Exactly.
That's it?
So that's an MP3?
That's an MP3 player. Well, they may be little, they may be larger. This is on often the size. They could be smaller if they didn't have video. This one you could also, watch a movie in this if you wanted to. This has a radio frequency, so you could connect radio. I'll bring this to my Japanese church, and then when somebody is translating into interpreting into English, I can get the radio frequency with this. Okay, so this does a little bit more. You don't obviously need that. If you have a simple MP3 recorder, you record your class, and then you can put it into, download it into wherever so that you can have student accessing it. Okay? Anyway, I would highly recommend you do this. It's not hard to do, and it's the advantage of giving access to more students, whether they be physically in your class or whether you do an online course. Okay?
Now this is recording only your voice.
This is recording everything that's going on right now, including your questions. If you know any,
Where's the camera?
Voice only.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's not doing.
Video.
Yeah, I always tell everybody I have a face for radio. So.
Don't we all?
So let's take a quick peek at this. First thing, this is basically the things I want to run through. Firefox add-ons. Does everybody use Firefox? Does anybody not use Firefox? One. You use?
I think so. Mozilla?
Mozilla, yeah. All right. We'll talk a little bit about Google Tools, Google Docs, Google Calendar. Anybody know and use Google Docs? That many. Okay. We'll talk a little bit about My Way, although I'm less concerned about My Way. I'm more concerned about newspapers and news. Where do you guys get your news? Real quick.
Radio.
Huh?
Radio.
Radio.
Headlines on the internet.
TV.
Yeah.
Where? No, yes.
News magazine. Economist magazine.
News magazines, physical magazines. Okay. I'm here to show you hundreds of new magazines that are accessible to you. I can get most of my news online. Most of it. All right, we'll also be talking about presentation guidelines. Do you guys make PowerPoints for your classes? Okay, we'll go through that, how to do that, if you find that useful and beneficial. I used to have little cards that I would bring to class, just as a little outline so that I knew what was going on. Or I'd write it on the board or something like that. Now, this is my outline, and I can provide extra resources and whatnot for the students as we go along. Whoops. Last thing we'll be talking about how to make podcasts, MP3s. Okay? Please interrupt me. All right? All right. Firefox, unlike Internet Explorer, unlike Safari, unlike Opera, Firefox, because it is open source, because it's the first to really do this, has thousands of add-ons, little things that you can connect to the browser. Okay, and I'll be running through some that I find very useful. A browser is a browser is a browser? Absolutely not. Microsoft is not open source. What does open source mean? Open source means I can give it to anybody and their brother. Okay? I can't take Microsoft Word and give it to anybody and their brother. I can't even take my Internet Explorer and give it to anybody and their brother. With open source, I can. Firefox is open source. In addition, I can look at the guts of the application, rip out pieces that I like, add pieces that I want. Now, we're not computer programmers, so that doesn't interest us at all. But the people who made these add-ons do, and they're very glad that they can add on to their browser. So it's a plus to us. When I first started looking at their add-ons, they had hundreds, and it would take me several hours to look. I can't look through them anymore. There are so many things you can just add on to the browser and make it a better experience. These are just a few that I use. First one here is Auto Pager, and it's simply, you get to the end of your Yahoo search and you click Next. You don't have to do that anymore. You get to the bottom and boom, the second page just appears. Keep scrolling down, keep scrolling down, keep scrolling. It just automatically page scrolls to the next page. A wonderful tool to have. Okay? Cool Iris is a cool way of looking for pictures. Okay? We'll look at these again, so we're just giving you a quick summary here. Weave. I have a computer here, and I have bookmarks here and add-ons here, and when I go home, I have a different computer, and I want my bookmarks to sync. I want to have the same ones. Weave will allow me to do this. It's actually now called Sync. But I can now have 5 different locations, but all my bookmarks are going to be the same. If I add a bookmark here and I go home, I resync, I get those new bookmarks. A wonderful tool to have. Making sense? Are we okay?
I'm going to sound foolish, but I'm going to ask you exactly what is the bookmark? Where's the bookmark?
Bookmark is, but it's basically just an address of the location.
Okay.
Real quick here, talk about my favorite subject. Watch down here as I go. See what it says? Loading. Mm-hmm. I'm at page 3 now. I'm not clicking.
It's automatic.
But I'm at page 4 now. I'm not clicking. It's just automatically loaded. That's Auto Pager. Nice thing to have? You bet. Right? Do you understand? Really? You got it? You okay?
Is it something that you have?
I'm on page 5. I haven't clicked anything, but I'm on page 5. And the reason why is because of Auto Pager. That's the add-on that I mentioned earlier, right? I have it here, and so now I just go forever. And down here, I continue to have loading, next page, loading, next page.
That's a teaching tool so if you do your presentation.
That's a benefit that you should be aware of. You as a teacher, when you're doing your own work, when you're showing students things, right? That's a great tool to have. That's all. All right, so tab mix. Do you use tabs in your browser? You all know what tabs are, yes? Control, what is this? N? Is that right? You'll notice here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages listed here. Each of these little things here is called a tab.
Which is different from when you minimize something and it stands by.
That's right. If I minimize this, it's 1. But when I open it, it's 7. All right? Now, if you're using IE, is it 7 or 8? You have tabs. If you're using Firefox, you have tabs. And you can make a new tab. How do you make a new tab? Control-T. New tab, right? Control-T. Now I can go up here and do a search if I want to and search. Or I can type in a URL and I can type, okay, for a new tab. And it doesn't matter if it's Internet Explorer or it's Mozilla or it's Safari, it's Control-T. If you're a Mac, it's Command-T, and you'll get a new tab. Okay? However, if you go and make tab after tab after tab after tab, eventually the tabs start going this way out here. And you've got to scroll back and forth to get your tabs. A royal pain in the height. So, to prevent that, we can use tab mix, which allows you to create rows of tabs. I don't know about you, but when I do tabs, I now have 3 rows of tabs. Got to the end, it automatically scrolled to the next one. And I can go all the way out and I scroll to the next one. This is a big advantage when you're actually trying to search for things. I want to look up this information that's on this page right here. I can click, right? Hold the control key and click, and it automatically goes to a new tab. New tab, new tab. So now I can just click, click, click. Look at them just pop up, right? I got 4 rows now. Okay? Now I'm not going to lose my tabs in this endless long line. They're going to wrap.
So how many options you need to make the row?
I used tab mix. Up.
Do you have to download it into your system?
Yes. So I used tab mix. Here's a link to it, okay? And I'm going to give you guys these. I'm going to give you this file.
Okay. So
Okay.
right.
But obviously, all you need to do is go to Tools, and then go to Add-ons. Tools, Add-ons, and you can get add-ons. You go and get them. Okay. I don't really want to show you how to do that. You can go hunt them down later. What I'm focusing on now is just to say, hey, they're out there. Okay? We'll take a quick look because some of you are giving me deer in the headlight looks here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but tab mix, I can now get these rows of tabs. It's a great tool to have. Download helper. You go to you go to YouTube and you download an educational video. You're looking at this video and say, I want my students to see this. You go to class, you pull up the video, and there's a note there that says, I'm sorry, it's on access denied, or this thing has been taken down, or right? And so now you start praising God, and you wonder, gee, well, how can I get this? Well, with Video Download Helper, you can literally download the video right off of YouTube. Put it on your computer, and play it from your computer. Download it off the website, put it on eCollege. Now the students can access it directly from eCollege. Okay? That's all that is. A way for you to download stuff. Scrapbook is the same thing. You go to a website and say, this is a great article. Okay? You come back an hour later and it's gone. Well, with Scrapbook, you install the add-on and then you download anything you want, stick it in your Scrapbook. And that way you can see it later and it's on your computer. So if someone happens to delete it or change it, you can have the originals. We okay here? That's Scrapbook. Fox tabs is a kind of a cool way to look at tabs. Cool way to look at the tabs on your screen. It's eye candy, but there are some people who like eye candy. So the last one is speed dial. You all know what speed dial is in your phones, right? Well, that's all speed dial is going to do is that your first page is going to have 9 big numbers on it. Okay, and those are your speed dial. Typically you go to these 9 sites often. Just put them in your speed dial. When your website opens up, you just click, and they'll automatically open those. Okay, that's speed dial. Let's take a quick look at them. I showed you this already. That I'm at page 9, and that down here it was saying loading. This is what Auto Pager is going to look like. I also have a little icon at the top there that tells me that this is Auto Pager. Okay, and down here is another one. Okay, that's Auto Pager. Literally, you'll go to a website that does allow auto paging, and you'll get a little question that says, hey, this site allows me to do auto paging. Do you want me to? Okay, and if you say yes, then it'll auto page.
So it doesn't work on every site?
No. It works on sites that basically have a database in the background. So if you go to cnet.com or download.com or Yahoo or what's Microsoft's new search engine? Bing. You go to Bing, this will work. Okay? So, this is what Cool Iris looks like. Again, you're just looking for pictures as you're going to see. I just looked up the word Nyack, and that's what it looked like. I can look up the word bananas. Everybody's favorite word, right? Look up images. Okay? And I put my mouse over this, and you will notice I've got a little icon here that's got all these little pictures on it. I've got it up here as well. That's a direct link to Cool Iris. Okay? So if I click on that, if I click on the picture, I'll get a zoom of the picture. If I click on this little icon, I'll go to Cool Iris. Cool Iris is now going to open up, and it's going to give me that funky interface that you saw earlier, right? Good morning. That's okay. Now I've got a scroll bar at the bottom, but watch what happens when I scroll. Okay, so it's again, it's just a cool interface. Okay, you'll find what you like, and you say, okay, this is the one I want. You can zoom in on it, you can take a picture, you can grab it, you make a copy of it. Okay, that's all Cool Iris is. Okay, it's Cool Iris. Sync, which is weave. Okay, and that's going to sit probably in the bottom right corner. And the minute you turn it on and set it up, it'll just start syncing to its site. It takes your bookmarks and passwords and those kinds of things and saves it on a hard drive somewhere on the internet. If you don't want it saved at their site and you have your own FTP site, you can save it on your own personal site. But that's what that does. Tab mix, I already showed you this, the multiple tabs. Okay, this is an example of having them. The one at the top doesn't have tabs, right? So it bleeds off at the end. I gotta go all the way out there. Video downloader, you see this little icon right here, yeah? It spins when you have a downloadable video. Right? I don't know, somewhere in here I have a video that I can download. That's why it's spinning. You see it spinning up there, right? You just click on it, find the video you want to save, and you can save it. Scrapbook. Okay, this is the place to download the scrapbook. And when you do that, you'll have a list on the side of all the stuff in your scrapbook. This is what tab mix looks like, that picture right there. You can have it look like anything that you want. That's the tab mix icon right there. I'm sorry, Fox tab. So I launch it. That's what tab mix looks like. It's just a cool interface to say, okay, I want this one. And you can click on it and go to that one.
But it's your own.
These are my tabs. These are all these tabs. All of these tabs that are up here in this format. Just so that you've got a quicker way of looking at things.
This sounds strange. Does Firefox people have more of that?
All of these, if you want any of these add-ons, you can download them. Okay?
Firefox.
So if you have Firefox, you can download them. That's what speed dial looks like. Okay, just click on it, you go to it right away. But all of these you can simply download. I have here that list the places for the sites. Okay, so you can go there directly. You could also, after you download Firefox, if you don't have it, where am I? If you don't have it, just go to your Tools add-ons. And a little window will open up saying recommended. Just click on Browse All. Window will open up, or a screen will open up. And here they are. Okay, so I went Tools, Add-ons, Browse All, and I got a page. And now I can just type them in. I type in tab mix, it'll show up. I type in, what was another one?
But you have to add Firefox.
Yeah, you have.
If you don't have Firefox, you're up the something without a power, right? So if you need this, Mozilla.com.
And that's how you get
Firefox, yeah. Mozilla.com, you can download Firefox. My opinion is, currently, this is the most functioning one. Chrome is also good. Opera is also good. Internet Explorer is getting better. But if you look at the number of, just look at these tools that you have. These are all add-ons. Web development, there's over 1,000 add-ons. Language, where's language support? Almost 500 add-ons.
What is under language for dictionaries and language?
Dictionaries, translators, mouse overs. So there's one that I used when I was in Japan teaching foreign students English. Right? They'd mouse over a word they didn't know, the Japanese would pop up. It's just, the tools are just unbelievable that are out there. Tabs alone, there's over 400 add-ons that you have. I showed you one, Tab Mix. There's one that my brother uses that's tabs within tabs. So within this one tab, he's got more tabs. It's just nuts, things that you can have. Right? Options galore is the point here. You can go here and look and see all, find out what's going to be to your advantage. Okay?
And web development is what?
Pardon?
Web development. What would that be?
You go look, where am I? I guess this is a subcategory. No, web development. So we've got macros for Firefox, JavaScript console. These are just some of them, right? There's over 1,000 here, so. From here you can do a search within this to see what's here, or you can just browse them all. There's too many here that I want to look at. Firebug, you can actually look at the code if you're interested in looking at the code. You look so excited. Yes. Okay.
What do you get from photos and music videos?
Pardon?
On the category.
Photos, music videos, links to, a link to Picnic, a link to Picasa, a link. You're from this picture, you can link directly to Facebook and put it in your Facebook account. So, picture finders, video download helper, right? I mean, there are too many to count for me right now. It used to be I could go through the lists. I can't anymore. There are so many things that you can do with it. Okay? I showed you about 9. And, am I in the right course? Yeah. If you go to this website, which is called I2Z, and it's only called I2Z because my students didn't give me a choice, click on Nyack College. Right here, there's a course for you, for stuff for you guys. And anybody can get into this course right now. And I have here something called Firefox add-ons. It's one add-on. So you come here with Firefox, click on it, and it'll ask if you want to install it. It will install the 9 add-ons that I showed you. It'll install all of these. Okay, so rather than it's searching for each one, that one that's there will install all of them.
But first you have to get the Firefox.
First you have to get Firefox. But if you go to I2Z, click on Nyack College, you'll be able to get to those. And again, it's one file, and then boom, you've got them all. Okay? So save it to your hard drive, and then open it, file open. And you get all 9 instead of having to hunt for them all. Okay? All right. We okay with these add-ons?
How do you turn on the page?
How do you turn around the page? You all are used to using Microsoft Windows, yes? Okay, up until Microsoft Windows 7, this was not possible. I, however, like my money. Okay, so you all give your money to Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. I use an operating system called Linux. And Linux costs nothing. I can download it for free. It's an open source package. And it allows me to have a cool desktop that allows me to play with it, to do this kind of thing.
And make the student motion sick.
Again, more eye candy, right?
Do you spell it?
Eye candy?
No, Linux.
Linux, Linux. But please bear in mind, we're talking about a completely new operating system.
Yeah, no, I don't know that I'd be able to.
Right. Does anybody use a Mac? Has anybody ever gone from Windows to Mac or Mac to Windows? Okay. Was the transition easy?
No.
Okay. I've used all 3 of these. I've used Mac, Windows, and Linux. And the transition for some is like going to the dentist. So people, after they make the switch, they're like, there is no way I will ever do this again.
Which is
Which
the most user-friendly, we should say.
are the most user-friendly? Well, I'm prejudiced.
Without, cast away your prejudice.
For the typical person, the eye candy and the quote-unquote ease of use of a Mac is rather strong. For other people, they were born and raised in Windows, and therefore anything else is going to be more difficult. For someone like me, who has used a variety of them and sees the power advantage, okay, they're going to probably levitate to something like a Linux. Okay, which is why I'm trying to tell you to go to Firefox. Is Internet Explorer good? Hey, it gets you around. But there's more power here. Okay? Now, there are some people who are like, I don't really care about power. I want park, reverse, and drive. I don't need 4 gears. I don't need overdrive. Everybody's different. Everybody's different.
How long have you used Firefox?
I've used Firefox for a long time, before they had extensions. Okay, you use it?
No.
Yeah. For these things in particular, I would recommend it. Chrome, which is a Google application, is also open source. They're starting to have add-ons. Microsoft has some add-ons, but it's unbelievable the opportunities that are here. So I would definitely go this way. Regarding security as well, Internet Explorer is embedded into Microsoft Windows. Okay? Which means there's more potential for viruses. Because they're connected, okay? If Microsoft has a weakness, it's transferred to Internet Explorer. Okay? Go look at your standard security sites, and they will list far more IE viruses because of that. Okay, we okay with this? These are the examples. Google Docs, Google Tools. I'm starting to use these all over the place because of their ease of use and their, again, power capabilities.
Should we jot this down, or are we going to get this?
You're going to get this whole file, so I'm going to give this to you as a PowerPoint. Okay, actually, I'll just make it available to you on Google Docs. And if you want it, you can go get it. I can put it on the iTunes as well as a share. Just go get it. But real quick, to have access to these tools, you need a Gmail account. You need a Google account. Go to Google, set up an account, and then you have access to all these tools. Anybody have a Gmail account? Dude, 3 of you do anyway. Okay, it's no big deal. I, for the longest time, resisted getting another email account. I have 6 or 7 of them. They drive me nuts. I'm very glad I can do a lot of forwards. Gmail will let you do that as well. But after you get Gmail, then you have, at the top of your page, you've got things up here, Gmail, calendar, documents, okay? And they're just sitting there. For the most part, you just use Gmail, or you just use Google if you're doing a search. But these things are sitting up there if you've logged in, okay? And if you log in, and you click on document, these are the documents that you can do. You can create a document, a presentation, a spreadsheet, a form, drawing. Presentation is PowerPoint. Document is Word. Spreadsheet is Excel. Form is basically it's Excel, but it's in a form that makes it easier to understand. I sent you a form, I think, for a survey to find out when you wanted to learn and study or whatnot. Okay, but it's basically an Excel spreadsheet. All of these I do through the browser. You pay nothing. Okay, no need to give Bill Gates any of your money. If you do want to give money, by the way, my email address is so it's free. It's also through the web. So if you're here and you need access to it, it's on the web. You don't need to say, oh, I forgot my stick. Or it's on my other computer. Oh, it's on the web. I can get to it anywhere. It's a great advantage.
The students would need to have a Gmail account too.
If they want to use this stuff, yes. Now, take a quick look at what I mean here. So if I'm on Gmail and I click Documents, I'll go to this page here, and this lists documents owned by me. These are the documents that I'm doing. Here's that survey that I sent out to you. It's on the web. Okay. Some other advantages. Take a look at a document here. Opens up in a new window. Here's a web page. Okay. Who's looking at this web page? If I share this with somebody, I'll see who's sharing. I'll get a list here. These people are looking at this document. I can also share for editing purposes. I'm writing a paper with somebody who lives in Florida. We're both writing the paper. We write it here on Google Docs. We can both access the document at the same time, edit it at the same time. Okay? Yeah. I have friends in Japan. We're writing papers together. He does his section. I do my section. Right? I ask him to change things. He can put notes inside here. This is a good idea. Add this, do this. All online, all in real time. All right?
Where are the notes that you would be communicating?
I would type it in the window. I put this here, right? He can put a note below there that says double check the version here, because I think here it's a higher version. He'll just type it in the window. Type it right there. And when I go to look at this, I'll see those notes. And if I'm actually working on it at the time, it'll pop up. The notes that he's put in. All right? So I can share. That's one thing you can do. You can share. So you have something you want your students to see. You write it up. You put it here. You share with your students via their email. They now have access to it.
How would you put it there?
Huh?
How would you put it there? Would you type it somewhere else? Like in Word?
You could cut and paste. You can upload. You can upload. You can cut and paste. You can just type it here. I mean, you look at the interface. Bold, italic, underline, fonts, times, right? You've got all these things here. You've got formats in here. Insert, picture, table. Add headers and footers.
Could you go to Google Docs and compose there?
That's what I'm saying. See, this is the interface that's here, right?
This was completely composed by.
This I made. Literally, this I made in OpenOffice, a word processor, and then uploaded it here. But I could literally type it here. Again, there's my toolbar, right? I can do an insert. Is it going to work? I can do an insert. I can do formatting, right? I mean, I can do basically everything that I would normally do in Microsoft Word without having to pay Bill Gates for the
What if you were,
lesson.
what if you were a teacher and the student sent you a document and you posted it on Google Docs? How would the corrections or the comments look? Does it have...
All right, let's share this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So first thing you need to do is share this. Who are you sharing it with? You need to put in the person's names. Okay? And what can they do? Can they edit or can they view? If you just want them to view, obviously they're just looking at it. They can download it. If you want them to edit, you leave it at edit, and you start putting in their names.
This is very similar to what you can do on AOL when articles open up and watch.
Sure.
You want to email it off to someone. Same thing.
When you're done sharing with them, they can now have access to this document, and anything they do, you can see. If they do it in the same font and they try to hide it from you, they can. Okay? You, of course, also have, where did this go? Revision history. You can go back hundreds of revisions to see how something has progressed. Writing teachers. You have them write their paper here. You have them revise. Okay? You have access to this document. You come back and what did they revise? How did they revise? To me, this is something I would love to research. What would they revise? How would they revise using this system? I don't know if anybody's done this. Yeah?
Can you kind of apply rubrics and then give them a feedback?
With this?
Yeah.
There are no rubrics unless you add them.
Yeah, we add them and then use them and then give them give the evaluation back to the students.
When you share the document, you give them complete access to the document. Okay? So I'm working with Marianne on a document, and Marianne is very angry with me. She can delete the whole thing because she has access. You want to add a rubric? You have complete access. You can add the rubric. Okay? There is no special function called rubrics. Okay? You simply have complete access to the document. Okay? Bear in mind, though, if you're the owner, you have control over revision history. Okay? And I know this because I was working with 40-page paper. We were working on this. He made a whole bunch of changes in one section and decided to cut and paste the entire document from his word processor to here. So he blew everything else away that I had modified. Right? Fortunately, I was the owner, and I found I did a comparison. Where did he make his changes? I copied that to a separate file. I backed up to an earlier version, right? And then I can paste it in. That's because I had control over the
So
document.
being the owner is the originator.
The originator. Well, but you can pass that on.
You can.
Yeah. You can pass off ownership to somebody else. Okay?
Yeah, that seems pretty risky.
What? Passing off ownership?
Or just sharing, letting people have open access.
Well, as a teacher to a student, yeah. But as a teacher giving your student one of your documents, sure. But as a teacher being able to access your student's documents, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? No?
Yes. So, I just was thinking that.
Oh yeah, I'm very. You don't let things be seen, or you don't let people have access that you don't trust.
I was just thinking, okay, like we have to do this without a campus,
they have their paper.
This will work.
They want to have their paper for revision. So I'm just trying to see how to, use the system.
Your students have to have an account. Your students post their document here and share it with a generic writing tutor. Now that writing tutor can now go in. This is what I do if I'm grading students' papers. I'll go in and write in red, so they know what I'm writing. They can of course then delete that later. But I go in and I write in red, and then I send that to them, and then they come in and see what changes have been made.
So each time you comment in paragraph 1, and paragraph 4, and paragraph 5, you would have to then notify.
Well, no, you turn it on once. You just turn it on once.
And it will be read all the time.
Yeah, or you can do you can do a highlight type of thing.
Because when I do that, I have to keep changing it.
Every time?
Yeah.
What a pain.
But I haven't done it on Google Docs.
Yeah, well, this isn't the only one. There's like a dozen of these systems as well. I'm only showing you Google right now. Sure. The downside of Microsoft, though, is you have to have a copy of it, and you may need a proper version of it. Okay? I'm on Linux. Microsoft doesn't make any system for me. So if this is my computer, I'm up the creek. For people who don't own a copy of it, they're up the creek, or we encourage them to steal.
Do you have comments you can enter?
There may be. I don't know that I've ever used an insert comments. I don't know. Yeah, insert comments. I've never used it.
That's what I meant.
So that would be something that would be on the side or separate. I've never used it.
So if you go to Google Docs, you have to log in first in your Gmail account? So
You have to simply log in.
where? At Google Docs? Or
It doesn't matter. Right? You go to docsgoogle.com, you can log in there as well. You go to Gmail, you can log in there as well. Once you log in, all of these tools are available to you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked about reservations that I would have regarding using them, and that's security, but I'm not going to go into that now. It is a great tool, and if you find advantage using it, I would highly recommend you do. I now have, again, I don't hand out papers anymore. I don't collect papers anymore. It's all done digitally. This is one way that I could do it.
And what I'm interested in knowing the seconds on the security breach or the potential for security.
Over the past 3 years, at least twice, I've read articles where Google has had a hiccup in their software. And for example, one time, somebody who I share this document with you, but because of the hiccup, because I shared it with you, I also shared it with everybody in my address book. Oops. That's type of security. If it's not with me, it's a possible security problem. Okay? All right. So that's a document. We also have, here's a PowerPoint presentation. Start the presentation.
This is still on Google Docs?
This is Google Docs. I'm in Google. See it up there, Google. Right? Does this look familiar to you? Okay? But this is not PowerPoint. This is Google Docs. And so I have essentially the same type of thing here, only it's online. Oh, I forgot my stick. It doesn't matter. If I have web access, I can get to it. Okay? It's a presentation. Spreadsheets do the same thing. There are spreadsheets. This I just recently received. Again, it's just a spreadsheet, but it's online. I don't need to have. I don't need to buy Microsoft, and I don't need to have. Is this right? Yeah. Calendar.
Now, what about opening things? If you have this, and people send you Microsoft copies,
You can send you someone sends you a Microsoft document, you can open it here. They send you an open office document, you can open it here. They send you a PDF file, you can open it here. An RTF file, you can open it here. Okay?
Is there any way that you can synchronize your file with Google Docs?
No, not yet. Yes, it would be. Right? Of course, Google would say the easiest way to synchronize is don't use anything else. And that way, no matter where you go, you have access to this, and it doesn't matter what the computer is. Right? But that's what they would say.
You mean to synchronize it with another operating system? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, in other words, I have a copy of it here on my physical computer, and I have a copy of it online, and I want to synchronize it. I update it here, and then I'm on the bus and I'm trying to work. I'm on the train and I'm trying to work. I'm offline, right? And when I get back to network connectivity, I want to be able to synchronize it, and I can't. You can, when you're done, you can download it as OpenOffice. You can download it as PDF, RTF, Word, HTML, zipped. So when you're done working with it, you can download it to the format that you want. All right? Mm-hmm. Yay, calendars. Let's go look at calendars. Calendars, like Google Documents, is shareable, so you can share calendars with people. Are we sharing a calendar, ESL people? We're not. Well, we will be. Over here, I have all these calendars. ESL, family, modern languages in both campuses, and I can have. How do we say this? Layered calendars. Okay, and so you can layer them all over the place. I hear one family. Well, it's my family one, right? Separate from the classes that I'm teaching, or separate from ESL classes, right? So here, ESL classes are beginning. Okay, I can give you guys access to these, and then you have access to these calendars. I'm pretty sure I've given access to these calendars. Have you seen these, Sonja?
Yeah, I checked your schedule last night.
Okay, so you have access to this calendar, not to the other one, but this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one advantage here. You set up a schedule. You can use this with your students, with the faculty within your department. Set up a schedule. Anything that's added here, you can be notified. You can get alerts. A little pop-up that says, "Hey, 20 minutes, you have this class." You can get an email alert. Okay, so you can use a calendar similar to other places, but it's just part of the package that's here. We okay with a calendar? Mm-hmm. So you could set up work schedules here for the Writing Center. Literally set them up here. Now you don't have to print them out. You don't have to worry about whatever. They're here. Somebody wants to change. If you give them access to modify, then they can modify.
But would that person have to be on Google Docs?
To view, no. To modify, yes. Okay? Okay? That's Google Docs.
Wouldn't that be a danger? Like for Millie, people just change their schedules at will, and then she wouldn't even know.
So yeah, but Millie, she would simply give them view capabilities. And if they want to change it, they have to come to her, and then she has to change it.
Otherwise,
Right, they'll change, yeah.
You never put me on that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm scheduled for Saturday at 2 a.m., and I was there. In addition to Google Docs, there's about a dozen other of these. One of the ones that I wanted to quickly mention is Zoho. Zoho.com is very similar to Google Docs, except that, in my opinion, it's better.
Better than Google Docs?
Yeah, it's basically the interface is just different. There's also more options. Google has about 4 things. Look at all the options that are here. I don't even have all of them listed. Reports, meetings, invoices, a business. You can run a business off of this. It's all web-based. Okay? Database creator, project management system, a CRM. You could run a store off of this, right? Presentation tool, spreadsheet writer, these are all typical, right? Over here, which I didn't have, they had question maker for giving a tests and whatnot. There's a lot of options here. I'm not going to go into them, but just to let you know, they are available.
What is the word processor like?
I like it better.
Will other people be able to open the docs?
Same, you can share it, you can have history revision, you can upload and download to major word processors.
So do they have to go on to Zoho.com?
They can I log into Zoho through Google. I don't know if you've seen this now, but there are places that say you log on through your Facebook account or log on through your Google account, and that's what I do.
So is this open source ware?
I don't know if this is open source. Is it free? Yes. For most things. Yeah, that's a whole other realm for you. It's how this business model, how in the world do they do? But they do. Open Office is huge. Open Office.
Yeah.
Red Hat is probably the most profitable Linux flavor that's running a business. They do a lot of their work. They make a lot of their money out of service, right? So
Consulting type.
yeah. I mean, if this school decided they wanted to go open office, there's just a ton of things that they could do for us, and we would pay them for the service. But the software itself is free.
And so behind that question is, how do they have the resources to maintain all this stuff and keep it updated? And
I don't know.
And
Again, for
whereas
your
Google,
students.
you kind of know that.
Oh, yeah. They're making money hand over fist. By the way, these people are fighting with and or working with Google, because Google is the big elephant in the room. Yeah. But this is just two. There's at least a dozen of them that I know. Microsoft is into this. Adobe is into this. Go ahead. But they have just more, okay, than Google. Okay? If you're interested, please go look. My way. Yeah, we'll do this first. As I mentioned before, most of you get your news either radio news, TV, or physical newspapers. There are hundreds of online-only newspapers. Most famous that I know of is WorldNet Daily. WorldNet Daily is only news online, and it's a Christian newspaper. They do normal news, but they're all written from a Christian perspective. So I would recommend you go and look at their stuff, because the majority of the stuff that you're going to get on radio, TV, and newsprint is left. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's the only side that you used to be able to get until now. Now there are a bazillion things that you can get that are right. For example, WorldNet Daily or Newsmax, which is also a physical newspaper, but it's also web. World Magazine, Christianity are Christian news magazines. Some conservative ones that are down here. World Tribune, probably never heard of it. American Thinker. Very good articles on current issues, conservative based. Spectator. Why did I put that there? Breitbart. Does anybody know Breitbart? About 3 weeks ago, there was a huge, actually about 3 months ago, there was a huge stink about some congressman, some black congressman who said he yelled the N-word when he was at a tea party. And it was the big thing in the news, okay, on radio and television, and Breitbart said, oh, wait a minute, I was there. I had 4 cameras there following this congressman. And Breitbart put out a challenge. Anybody who can find me film of this happening, I'll pay you $10,000. It never happened. People continued to attack Breitbart. And he then said, look, if you're attacking me about prejudice, I'm going to tell you in your own ranks, you have prejudice. And he put up a video of some lady working for I forget who was talking about being prejudiced against whites. And the president fired her, or the president's office fired her, and then rehired her because the video that was put up was only partial. All that was done through this guy here, Breitbart. His site is, again, conservative. My only reason for bringing this up is to show you have access to this stuff. You didn't before. This is My Way. And again, I'm not so much thrilled about My Way, although My Way is a nice site. It's a portal, like a Yahoo page or a Google desktop. A place where you can set things up that you like, that you want to use. I'm more concerned about the one over here that says local newspapers. So if you go to My Way, create an account, you can set up a page the way you like it. And they've got a whole bunch of newspapers that you can have access to. Some of them you probably know, USA Today, New York Times. There's Breitbart. I added that, okay, because it was conservative. And New York Times isn't necessarily as conservative.
What's the difference between the darker printed?
Ones that have been recently clicked and ones that haven't. So Cyberclass is also conservative. Investors Business Daily is definitely more conservative, even though they write from a business slant. Okay, they're more capitalist, I guess I should say. National Review is more conservative. So I can add all these newspapers. Notice where it is on my list. It's the first tab on my list. I can wake up in the morning, put my mouse, hold the control key, click, 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 and I can get 7 or 8 newspapers and review them in 30 minutes to get a snapshot of the news that's happening all over the place, all over the world. See that one down there, the New Zimbabwe? I have friends out there. I can get news from everywhere, quickly. Not paying a penny for it. I don't have to wait for the newspaper to arrive. Okay? I've got stuff in the center here, too, from other places. AP, Fox News. Okay? But I can also add all these. You need to know this. Your students need to know this. I don't know where they're getting their news from. But I can wake up in the morning and I can get news from all over the place. Drudge is another one. Drudge is, what's the word? They're libertarian. You know what libertarian is. And again, whatever their slant, you know that when you walk in so that you can have whatever, shields or protections that you need as you read. But at least you know that you have access to all this stuff that we didn't have before. Drudge is one of the first ones that came out in the 1990s. His site is not pretty at all. It's a boring site. But he's got, how many today? 27 million today. Hits. People who have come to look at this. And what time is it today? Within the past 24 hours.
But he has Thomas Sowell. Libertarian, kind of like very liberal.
Libertarian, okay, small synopsis of libertarian. The government should not be involved in my life. Now this means smaller government, which also means less taxes. Slow down, which means less rules and regulations. Okay. Gordon here is going, yay, because he left. At the other end, there's the people who say, if I want to have abortion or have 3 wives or marry my daughter or my daughter's dog, that's between me and my daughter's dog.
So that would be also private.
Those are also libertarian. Okay? So libertarian is kind of what we want is the government out of our systems. We only want them there when we need them there, like if there's a fire or for the police or for the interstate commerce or.
So it's conservative in that it's concerned about small government, but because of that, it doesn't have anybody's idea.
That's right. Okay.
The worst thing you can say to a libertarian is if they're conservative. They hate that.
Small government is that's what I thought of libertarian.
Well, Gordon's right. In that sense, okay, they are. But if you dress them in the complete clothes of conservatism, they're not going to be happy.
Thank you for taking the time, because I thought I knew it, and then I saw Tom Soul, and I said, no, that's it.
And this guy Drudge, I believe, I don't know if he's Christian. I'm certain that there are some of these places, the people who are writing are very Christian, and they're very conservative, and they may even give themselves the label libertarian. But on moral issues, they're not going to join the true libertarians. You're going to have that box. Okay? Mm-hmm. Anyway, I only brought up Drudge because they are so large. And it's a boring site. Yeah. But his articles are from all over the place. When I first started looking here, I'm like, the Scottish newspaper? Yeah. He pulls anywhere that's English, he pulls out articles. And it's funny that sometimes our news media is nice to the government, and you go to the UK and they're ripping the government. You get a different perspective from over there. Okay? You wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that because I'm not going to go read the UK Times, Sun's Up, but I'll get it here because he does the homework. Which is why, one of the reasons why he's very popular. Again, you've got to take it with a grain of salt. But at least now we have more options. All right? At least now we have more options. Okay. Presentation tips. When you go to make PowerPoint presentations, and when I teach a class that's almost any class that I teach, I'll have a slide like this ready. As I mentioned before, I used to have little cards. It didn't matter whether I was teaching ESL or teaching technology or teaching education courses. I had a little outline of what I wanted to cover. I don't need that anymore because now I just have the PowerPoints. This also enables me to pop up quotes that I may want to include, or pictures graphs that I want to include, and I don't need to hand them out anymore. I put them into PowerPoint. I make the PowerPoints available to my students, and now they have. In fact, now my students are like, "Can I have a what do you call that thing when you need to study? You know, a piece of list of all the things that they need to study for an exam. What do you call that thing? A review sheet, right? Or a study guide, right? I'm like, they're here, and so they can just take this and review it that way. Here are some tips for creating these. Regardless of the system you use, be consistent. You'll notice this bottom bar here. I try to put it on every page. The background color, this bottom bar. The background color, I try to keep it the same on every page. For those of you that are creative, try to be consistent. Okay? For this particular presentation all the way through, try to be consistent. Same font sizes. If you have headings, try to keep them at the same location every time. Okay? Have an introduction and a conclusion, just like you write a paper. Oftentimes, which I did not do this time, you'll notice this is my first page. I should actually have a page before this that's blank. It's only got the orange in the background. So I can put it up and now I'm ready and nobody has to see what's going on until I'm ready to begin. Okay, so I have a blank screen at the beginning just so that, okay, we ready? Now, boom, and now I can begin. Okay, so there's another page here. One of these things that I have in my hand too would be nice. So have an introduction, conclusion page, headings. No more than 40 points. Actually, that's the standard, 40 points. Big. Pages, we'll get to this. Main text, no less than 24. So it should be rather large.
So what would you say these are?
That's what these are.
24?
Yeah, that's my guess. Do not put a ton of text on your presentation, which is a mistake that people often make. This is for, quick understanding. It's not for to be read. It's not a book. And there are a lot of times people put huge amounts of text on there, and it doesn't take long before you've got the deer in the headlights or people who their eyes are going off all over the place because I got too much information up there. You are the presenter, or in class, you're the person that's going to be leading, not the presentation, not the paper. Keep it simple. Avoid too much content. Okay, make more slides if you wanna have more content. Okay, don't dump it all into that place. Sans serif fonts. Make it attractive, readable, and memorable. This is typical for anyone who's teaching, right? I want to keep my people's attention. Have you've been teaching a class and you notice that people are, I just lost one actually, right? Okay, you want to avoid that. Make it readable. You want to make it attractive. Make it memorable. That way they can study off of it later, right? Sans serif, you'll know what that is, yeah?
Is that a particular font?
Sans serif is, I've got no feet on these, right? There's no little feet at the end of at the letters at the top and bottom. Right? Yeah. Apparently that's more reader friendly.
But that's in a font. That's going to be...
Sans serif is any font that doesn't have the pretty feet. Give me a font. I'm at read only. Why am I at read only? Times Roman is serif, not sans serif. Well, I can't get any because this document is not mine for some reason. Arial is. All right. So if you see this one here, it's got feet, the little hooks at the end, right? No, she just didn't know what sans serif was, and I was just trying to give her an example. Okay. Again? Arial? Yeah. Arial is very common, so yes, it's a good one. That's actually what I mean. Where was I? Keep headings consistent. Again, I say keep it at the same place, the same font, the same color. Again, just to make it easier for the person to flow through the concept that you're doing. More matter, less art. Anybody know where that's from? It is.
Is it really?
More matter, less art. So there are some people who, again, they like.
Oh, yeah?
Good for you. I'm typically one that adds stuff like this and also stuff from movies into classes, and I'm just amazed at how many people are just totally oblivious. But then you have somebody who is like, oh yeah, I know what that is, and you're surprised. So good for you. I love that quote. Get rid of the eye candy. Make it simple, make it easy to understand, make it memorable. Okay?
Is this slide too much? Because I had trouble with this one. I was taking notes and I was listening a lot.
This slide? There we go.
Is
Okay.
this too much or is this about?
I did try to limit it. You can go. There are other places online where you can get the. People have done research on this as to what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. So you need to play by ear. I have been trying to not. Obviously, this is just a bunch of links, but I have been trying to not overwhelm. That's too much. Right? I should have put this on 2 pages. That font is too small. Easily too small. I wanted the links there. That was the only reason that I put it on, because I'm going to give this to you later. These are. These were there on purpose. That's not too much.
No, I think it's the big size that makes it feel more overwhelming.
Oh, really? I don't know exactly what size this is. Let the presentation be a guide. You're the content. Okay?
No, I meant that information. I was taking notes and I felt as if I wasn't able to read the slide, like I couldn't take it in.
Huh.
Maybe because you thought it was going to, because it was a slide, you thought it was going to be removed quickly and you didn't have enough.
Maybe
I
that's
see.
the pressure, but it just, I think
Yeah.
it's
Well, if I could also recommend, if you're going to have these, save them somewhere so that your students can have access to them. I save these as PDFs, so then they can just open them, print them out if they want, and then they can have access to them. I don't give them the actual PowerPoints. Okay, I try to make one per class. Even if it, I may have one that says group work. It's one slide, and then they're going to be doing something in class as a group. They'll break up into groups or whatever. But I'll have a slide for everything, and that way I know what's going on. I don't need my little piece of paper anymore. And your students now can have access to any special information. I don't know about you, but now when I go to a class, if I'm in Sunday school and the pastor gives a quote or something, I'm like, I wanted that. It's gone. I can't have access to it anymore. But if they had handouts, I'm like, oh, good. Okay, I can get to that now. Better that it's online, because now they have access to it online from anywhere. We okay with these? Okay. I typically will make one PowerPoint presentation and put in the beginning, the ending, the color. I'll pick up a color scheme for that class for that whole semester. I'll make one, and then I'll copy it 30 times. And then I'll go through, and then for each lesson I'll go in and I'll fill in all the stuff, because then all the basics are there. The background color, the scheme is all set up, and it's ready to go, and I can just fill it in with the content. Am I making sense? Not hard to do. It is more time consuming. Okay, for those of us who like to wing it, now I've got to have everything ready to go on the slide. Okay? That's actually good for us as far as prep is concerned, but it's more time consuming. We okay here? MP3s. As I mentioned, I'm recording. Where'd it go? There it is. I'm recording. You can get a little MP3 player and record your class. This will do at least a month's worth of classes. And I can save it at the end of the day, I save it, I can put them online. Or I can make a podcast out of them. Put them not just on the iDrive, but put them on a website. And give opportunity for my students to download and or listen to them. You who are teaching ESL, what a great opportunity. You require them, if they're in regular classes, to record their stuff. If they're in your class, that's part of their homework. They've got to listen to this 4 or 5 times or whatever and pull out certain information. You don't stop on purpose in your listening speaking class so that they have to record and listen to it later to try to figure something out. Good opportunity for going to regular academic classes. What do you need to do? You can use a website like Blog Radio or Podbean. Go directly to the site, sit down and record if you want to. I've never done it, and I probably won't because I have one of these little monsters. You can use an MP3 player. Okay, and that's what I have. I have a little MP3 player here. I would not recommend you use your phone, and I would not recommend you use an iPod. iPods do not have microphones attached to them. probably have to purchase one extra in order to use it. Most of the MP3 players that I know of have an internal mic. Okay, so you get the MP3 player, you set it down there, you can now record. Okay, and when you're done, you can edit it and then publish it. There's a variety of software you can use to edit and publish. One that I use often is free. It's called Audacity. I don't have it listed here. It's open source, Audacity, and you can edit your audio with it and then save it again. You can also use your audio, combine it with your PowerPoint to create a slide cast. It's basically your PowerPoint and your audio combined together. Great little things to have. Anybody ever see these online? I am a lover of nanotechnology, and there was a site that I was recently at that was all nanotechnology. That's it. Every time I go to a conference, I record presentations if they allow me.
I would think a good number of them would disallow it.
It depends. So this is a lady who did a presentation. If it comes up, it's not moving. There we go. But I recorded her. I don't hear her. I know why. Shut off the front audio. You can't hear it. But I have her audio, and I have her PowerPoint, and they go together. So if I go to the next slide, her audio the audio changes. So imagine if you're teaching a class and you've got PowerPoint, you have this audio, you can now combine them, put your actual lecture with the notes online. Okay? A place like SlideCast will allow you to do that. SlideCast or SlideShare.net will allow you to do that. You can upload the audio, you can upload the presentation, and it'll create it for you there. You can, of course, do it on your own computer with other software and then upload it to eCollege or to YouTube or to your own personal website.
If you do the MP3, can you put that in eCollege?
I'm assuming you can put it in, yeah. They may not be able to hear it, they may need to download it before they hear it. But sure, you can save it as a resource in your.
They've been telling me that they recommend a webcam which also has a record thing and that's easier. But I don't know my way around, and it seems a little backwards to get to the webcam.
Well, again, it's funny. I've been discussing videoing the professor for years, and as I mentioned earlier, I have a face made for radio. There's no need anybody needs to see my face.
I don't want to be all over. What I mean is they want me just for the audio part. Get a webcam saying that it records well.
Well, these record well. If you wanted one, I have another one that I can actually plug in the mic, and so I could have like a pin mic. If you wanted a better audio, you could do it that way. In other words, I have a little. In addition to this, I have a plug-in spot where I can plug in a mic to this. So I stick this in my pocket, and then I have the pin mic right here, so it's closer, and I have a better sound. Okay. Now, if you're using Audacity or something, you can modify your sound. I'll put this in Audacity, and I'm going to get rid of the sound. I'm going to get rid of the snow in this room. You got to use Audacity to do that. Or, you may have a question, and when you talk, I'll increase the amplitude so that I can hear your question better. Well, see, in my opinion, you don't need to know that. You get one of these, an MP3 player, and this is what I would do. Day one, you'd say, who knows technology in my classroom? And you find somebody and you say, look, I'll give you 5 points extra credit by the end of the semester, 3, whatever, if you record these sessions. Oh, you see, I'm talking about live. And even though I'm going to be doing an online course, I'm doing it face-to-face also. And I'll record the face-to-face, and then I'll put it online.
See, what I wanted to do was just personal course. So I thought...
You don't need this then. Just sit down at your computer with a headset.
Oh, and just talk.
And record, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to do that either. Okay. We can talk
about that.
I don't want to take everyone's time. fine, but I just wanted to know the context.
Yeah, we can do that later. That's not hard to do either. As long as you have a headset and there's software out there that'll allow you to record your session. Okay. Any questions with these MP3s? Okay, we are done. I want to thank you for coming. You guys want to sit and talk about anything else? You certainly can. I have another session at 1 o'clock, and that's going to be talking more about, what's the word? Web-based materials, and go over a little bit more about Soho if you're interested. I can talk about my site, which is I2Z, and I know there are going to be several people here who want to play with it because they want to try to get access to it. I can only talk a little bit about eCollege. If you want to know more about eCollege, you should talk to Melinda Tong about that. What extra normals? Extra normals? I can certainly show you what it is. Yeah, it's not hard to use. The EXE would be the one I would more recommend as far as your materials are concerned, educationally. I think I put in the email, EXE is, where are we? Look at that. I lost my web. Yeah, we're done. Go away. I can't even get away now. Look what I did. I killed something. That's the one I want to kill.
What's that? No.
You teach, what do you teach?
English.
What do you teach? Social work.
I can talk about live text too.
Next session, I can go into live text. Although, as far as what I understand about live text, there aren't many things as a teacher that you can do with live text. You can upload, you can create activities, and you can do discussion boards. Those are the two things that you can do as a teacher with live text. If you're going to be doing research, that's different. There's more things that you can do. But if you want to be involved in using Content Manager, I would recommend using something like eCollege instead, because there's more capabilities there. eCollege has a question bank, for example, allows you to create exams. eCollege allows students to not only drop off homework, but I believe you can do attendance with eCollege. And so eCollege would be a better system. Back here. Again, if you come here and look at faculty resources, hey, I gotta fix that. You can get to the EXE Learning link, which is a program that allows you to create web-based materials. Okay? You can link in and create everything. This is designed for developing online materials. Okay, EXE Learning.
Is that a capital X?
Yeah, it assists teachers and academics in the publishing of web content without the need to know HTML, XHTML. So you can create materials, you can create things like chat sessions, questions, exams, you can import video content, there are a whole bunch of different things that you can do. And then it saves it as an HTML, and you can just upload it somewhere. Or it saves it as SCORM, and then you can upload it to a content system, you can upload it to something like eCollege, and it can understand what's inside because it's SCORM. It's SCORM formatted. Okay? This stuff is designed for us. Okay? We are people who will look at it and we say, we don't know anything about technology, but I do know my field and I want to put my content in. You put in the content and you save it, and then it's available via the web. You have to upload it to whatever site you're using. And I'll talk a little bit more about this next time as well. Okay? Thank you all very much for coming.
Thank you.